Mark's a douche. But this is good. Release the Snyder cuts. What's happening, film friends? Dave the Film Junkie here. Mark Hughes. That's right, that Mark Hughes. For a couple of years, I believed the official line that only an assembly cut existed till I saw and heard proof a couple of other cuts do exist. But now that I know I had false/incomplete info and another cut exists, I feel I have to correct the record since I was a voice denying it. Good job, Mark. We're proud. And I get it, guys. I'm not a fan either. He's blocked me. He blocked me a long time ago over something very stupid. And he, of course, goes on little Twitter tirades and stuff, and he's kind of emotional, and I'm not a fan. But this is a good thing. We can't pass this and be like, fuck Mark, fuck everything. He's never believed, fuck him. We're not going to allow him in now. That's not a good way of thinking. And there are, sadly, a section of the fandom that's very loud that does do this. They also did the same thing with Kevin Smith. They hate the fact that Kevin Smith has been saying this stuff too. And it's like, Kevin Smith is huge. He's got a big-ass voice. He's been actually talking about the Snyder Cut since last year, and he says that they should release it. Now he's full-on going, dude, it exists. I've been hearing some shit. Holy crap. There's just a section that doesn't want them to be involved because Kevin Smith didn't like BVS at first, and Mark Hughes, he was a non-believer, and I'm going, but they've come around. This is what you want. You want people to come around. I don't care what they've said in the past. If they have a voice and they're going to start supporting the cut, we have to welcome them in. That's just the way it is. But I see it with me because a lot of people come after me because I put stuff out there and it's not the way that it should be or the way that they want to. So therefore, I'm anti-Snyder, which I am. Fucking hate the guy. But he talks about other cuts. And even Zack Snyder himself has talked about cuts. That he had many, many cuts. Blah, blah, blah this. Blah, blah, blah that. And so what he's basically talking about here. And then there was a whole thing. There was an article that came out from Helen L. O'Hara. Which a lot of people, of course, were... dogpiled her too. She released an article, but of course they only read the title. They didn't actually read the article. And there was actually some good information in there. She's actually been a supporter of Zack Snyder. She has said that she likes Zack Snyder. Never denied that a cut exists. But yet it was just, it's just, that's the thing that I wish would just stop when good things are happening. It's almost like the certain people just don't like it and they just want to just start just... Basically what Mark was saying that 90% of the film was done, okay? And of course a lot of people were actually happy to hear that because obviously 90%, you guys have heard the number that was thrown out at me. That's just the one that I was throwing. You don't have to believe it, the 30 to 40 million. You don't have to believe it. I like Cleanos' 20 to 30. But of course, if it's lower, then fine. Fucking A. I'd be happy. But Mark Hughes went to clarify because context does in fact matter. He says, I never ever said a 90+% on the full 214 minutes. I said there's an edit and that it's of it that's 90+% done. And my follow-up tweets explain that after the initial assembly cut, there are additional cuts screened in a later one as about 90+, blah, 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 blah. Basically he's saying that, yes, just like Snyder, multiple cuts, which is what happens. And I just wanted to go over that. It's what happens with every movie, especially with big movies, is the director is going to put his assembly cut together. And I'm sure the assembly cut for Justice League is probably about 6.5 hours. Wishful thinking, but I'm just saying that it was longer. And then of course you got to cut it down to where you want the movie, the director wants the movie, but then now you got to get it past the studio. So you cut it down and you cut it down, and sadly Zack Snyder didn't have final cut authority. Usually directors don't, except if you're J.J. Abrams, apparently. He doesn't have final cut authority, and it was probably like someone like Silverman or somebody that had final cut authority, and they tell him, cut it down, cut it down, cut it down. So he cut it down, and then I think finally when maybe they were going to actually agree with something, then everything went to hell, and we know the rest. So he's saying a 90% of a shorter film was complete. 90% plus of a shorter film. And that's what he's pretty much clarifying right there. And, that's what Snyder said. He said had multiple cuts because you just got to keep on doing that to try to get them to bite. And then it kind of just begs the question, and something I thought myself, and I'm going to ask you guys, is if Warner Brothers was actually going to finally release the Snyder Cut, But it wasn't the 214-minute runtime, and it was a shorter one. Like, I don't know, 3 hours. Still a pretty good chunk of the movie. Would you guys be okay with that? Would you be okay with just a 3-hour movie and not the 3-hour and 34-minute movie? Now, I personally, yes, I would totally accept that because I accepted the theatrical version of BVS. I enjoyed it, but of course, seeing the Ultimate Cut, that's all I watch now. I would hope that if there was a well reception of the shorter Snyder Cut, that they would have a DVD or something on the streaming service, blah, 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 that would actually have the 214-minute runtime cut. So then we all just, we all dance naked around the fire singing Kumbaya, and wow, this got weird.
Why are you the way that you are?
So ask yourself that. Would you accept a shorter version of the Snyder Cut? That's like a starting point. I mean, I kind of asked the question too, like, when Kevin Smith was talking about the work print, release the work print, have Snyder do commentary. Yes, I know there's always going to be those ones that just want the whole thing or nothing, which is a very narcissistic thing to say, especially if the director is okay with it. Would you want the whole thing, or would you be okay with like a 3-hour cut? Just let me know down below. If it was a shorter cut, would you accept that? If it was vastly different from, of course, what we got, I think a lot of people would actually accept it, and then, of course, it would hopefully lead to the ultimate director's cut. So there you go, guys. Just wanted to talk about that. Let me know your thoughts about it down below. What do you think about what's happening to Mark Hughes, even Kevin Smith? I mean, that's what's kind of been stirring up the conversation recently, and it's been exhausting. Hit that like, thumbs up button if you'd be so kind. Subscribe to my channel at filmjunkie.com for all my content. Follow me on the Sock Meds over there, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Patreon if you want to help out the pirate ship. And then, of course, shirts down below. All right, guys?